It's time for our hot topic of the day, sponsored by TurboTax Free. Zion Williamson was injured last night against North Carolina about 30 seconds into the game with what's being called a mild knee sprain. Zion's foot actually went through his sneaker, something I'd never seen. He left the game and will be reevaluated today. The Tar Heels went on to win by 16, and Zion is projected by many to be the #1 pick in June's draft. We're joined once again by Chris Broussard in New York. Chris, should Zion shut it down for the rest of the season?
Well, I have talked with a few or texted with a few NBA guys about that today. One said he should shut it down if indeed he's injured or hurt. The other said he'd love to see the competitiveness. He'd love to see him play through it just to show that competitiveness. But when I asked him if he doesn't play through it, if he shuts it down, will that hurt his stock? He said, no, not at all. He'll still be #1. Skip, first, I'd like to hear more about this injury. Hopefully we get an update today. Is it just a mild sprain, or is it something more serious? Obviously, you don't want to mess around with the knee. But my feeling is that if this is even remotely serious, if this hinders him in any way, if it's a situation where, yeah, you can play, you're going to have some pain, but don't worry about it. You can't make it any worse. You got to ice more than usual after a game. Or, you know, if it's hindering him in any way, he can't jump as high or is not quite as explosive, I would shut it down. Now, if it's nothing big, if he's fine, if he can move the same way, jump the same way, all of that, I won't have a problem with him playing, but I would lean more toward shutting it down. And I also, Skip, no matter what the Duke doctors say, I would get a second opinion. I'm sure he probably will, but definitely go get an outside second opinion and make sure, you know, you really look at this thing closely before you make your decision. But if tonight, even if we get no extra news on his knee and we still think it's a mild sprain, if he came out tonight and said, look, my family and I have talked about this, my dream has always been to get to the NBA and be a #1 draft pick or a lottery pick or whatever. I have decided, you know, after suffering this injury, that I'm going to sit out the rest of the season and prepare myself for the draft. I would have absolutely, positively no problem at all with that.
So, Mr. Broussard, I wouldn't just lean toward shutting it down. I would come down hard on shutting it down. That would be my advice to this young man. Because even if it's minor, even if it's just a tweak of the knee, a very mild sprain of the knee, the way this kid plays basketball, the way he cuts and jumps with such sudden all-time explosion in ways we've never seen before for a 285-pounder at about 6 feet 6 inches tall. The risk of that is so great to me that even if it's just tweaked, that you could limit your NBA career by wrecking your knee, or you could wreck your NBA career by really wrecking your knee, is not worth it at this point. And Chris, I think we agree on this because we've discussed it before, but I still can't believe that in 2019, this country allows the National Football League to restrict kids from going into their draft for 3 years out of high school, and that the NBA gets away in 2019 with limiting kids to 1 year after high school before they can enter the draft. And again, did it benefit Zion to play at Duke? Yeah, he played 26 games, and he vaulted up the draft because, remember, going into the year, he was not projected as the #1 overall pick. R.J. Barrett was. Some of the services, a couple, I think, Rivals and 24/7, had Zion 5th among the potential draftees. So did he do himself greatly by playing 20? Yes, he's the it kid now. He is the runaway #1 pick. Hay is in the barn. I think that money is in the bank, not to be risked. And I agree with what they texted back to you, a couple of the NBA guys. Would I love to see? Sure, as a fan, I want to see him. If I were a personnel guy, I want to see him fire tested at Carolina on March 9th, at ACC tournament, and maybe even in the Final Four? Yes. Would it benefit this young man to get fire tested, to learn how to win at the highest level of college basketball on national stages with millions of people looking on? Yes, it would. Is it worth the risk given the style he plays basketball? It is not to me, because heaven forbid if he wrecked a knee or tore his Achilles tendon because he's favoring one side of the... I don't know what could happen, but whatever it is, if there's a 2% risk, it's not worth it.
No, that's a great point. You said the way he plays it. And you're right. I mean, whenever a guy has an injury, even if it's fairly minor, you tend to overcompensate. And you use some muscle a little more than you normally would, and that's how you get hurt. Let me bring up Derrick Rose, and I know he's half the size of Zion.
I brought him up earlier, but go ahead.
But the way he played, right? The way he played was so herky-jerky and explosive. And you saw, I know he's playing okay now, but, he's a shell of what he used to be. And you're right, you'd hate to see this happen. You brought up in 2019 that the NFL, NBA are letting these things happen. Look, I know the athletes getting paid is almost a whole nother discussion. It's complex. It's hard to figure out how to do it. I think what's easy to figure out, though, is you have a handful of superstars in collegiate football and basketball. At the very least, let them capitalize on their likeness. These jerseys and things that are selling because of Zion, he should get some of that. Maybe you don't even have to pay, the sixth man on the team or even the third man on the team. But the guys who are superstars. He brought President Barack Obama to the game. He brought Floyd Mayweather, Spike Lee. I mean, and Skip, we talk about and treat college sports, football and basketball, like we do the pros for the most part. What's the difference? The same money is being generated. The same TV contracts are being given to college basketball. Why does Mike Krzyzewski have a Nike deal? He's not wearing the Nikes. The players are. So let them benefit from those types of things in their likeness. Make it a free market system. When you and I were in college as non-athletes, we could have worked for a newspaper or a broadcasting company and been fine and still been students. So you're right. It's just a lot of hypocrisy. And maybe I think we're heading toward a different system. You got the NBA with the G League and offering the players money next year when they come out of high school. So I think we're headed that way. Maybe this will push us a little closer there.
And the irony of last night to me was Zion lasted all of, 37 seconds?
33, I think.
And he did something that most people had never seen before. I've seen shoes come apart. I've never seen somebody blow completely through their shoe, through their sneaker. And it was so shocking and stunning that I believe Zion actually increased and enhanced his mystique nationally with that moment where you could rest on that going toward the draft. I think it will increase his chances of breaking the rookie record for a shoe deal. I think he might be the first rookie to get a signature shoe just coming right out of college, which usually doesn't happen. You usually have to earn your spurs, so to speak, for a while. So actually, that last night benefited him if, in fact, he's not hurt. And I don't want to see him risk getting more hurt.
Well, what's interesting? We know LeBron has been at a game, of Dukes and watched Zion. And, Michael Jordan has athletes wearing Jordan brand sneakers. And it was either late in his career or actually he was still playing when he came back and played with the Wizards. He was in the league and guys were wearing Jordan brand sneakers, their own signature type of Jordan. And I could see, look, LeBron's shoes, they're a little heavier, a little sturdier than your typical sneaker because he's so big and explosive. I think next time you see Zion, he may be wearing LeBron's because he just needs a sturdy sneaker. And I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron, maybe they start, getting players to wear his shoes. That should be what LeBron's thinking. Let me get Zion signed up as a Team LeBron type guy with the sneakers.
Well, I know I'm pretty sure he's not going to wear the PG 2.5s anymore.
Yeah, I don't
as
think
in
so.
Paul George. That was not a good look for Paul George's signature shoe last night.
No.
Probably
No.
not. I think that's the
And
last.
it'll hurt him in his MVP race. I'm dropping him since.
Yeah, I figured you
It's
would.
not helping either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, thank you for joining us. Should the rest of the West be scared of LeBron and the Lakers? Michael Rappaport joins us to discuss everything there next.